mí me estaquearon de pie y mano y después me dejaron 3 días sin comer.
Y nos hacían poner las manos, los pies. A mí, por ser judío, me hacía poner también la cabeza dentro del lago.
El ejército mismo nos torturó. Nos puso espalda con espalda y nos enterró hasta el cogote.
Beatings, freezing, electric shocks, and even mock executions. These were just some of the cruel tortures to which Argentine soldiers were subjected during the Falklands War. But these abuses were not perpetrated by the British Army. Rather, the perpetrators were the Argentine officers themselves. Those who were supposed to guide them became their bloodthirsty executioners, making them live experiences they never even imagined possible. That is why today, in this new episode of Military History, we will delve into a dark and unfortunately forgotten aspect of the terrible Falklands War. Join us to learn about the inhuman tortures suffered by Argentine soldiers at the hands of none other than their own superiors.
Es la primera y única guerra donde se tortura a propia tropa, ¿sí? Sí, porque se torturó al que podía llegar a salvarte la vida.
April 2nd, 1982. The Falklands War had just begun. The Argentine de facto government was weakened by economic problems and the terror that its society was experiencing, a product of the bloody military dictatorship. In a desperate attempt to regain lost prestige and distract its people from its cruel internal policies, the generals in charge set their sights on the Falkland Islands, disputed for more than a century with England. However, a war was far from the minds of the South American leaders. They thought that, being so far from their territory, the United Kingdom would not even bother to send its forces to the islands. For them, the occupation would occur without encountering any resistance, and the conflict would be resolved by diplomatic means. This proved to be a serious logistical error. On April 4th, 2 days after the occupation by Argentine forces, the English fleet set out for South America with 127 ships, 43 of which were military vessels. A week later, both nations were locked in brutal fighting. Compared to the professional and experienced British forces, veterans of the bloodiest military conflicts in history, the Argentine army was noticeably inferior. Most of its soldiers were young, many under 20, who had never held a weapon until they were called to duty. Since their superiors had not imagined that a war would break out over the Falklands, their training had been very poor. But now that the shooting had begun, the officers felt they had to compensate for this logistical failure and quickly toughen up their men. And for a dictatorship as brutal as the Argentine military junta, there was only one way to do that.
Sufrimos la tortura verdaderamente en Malvinas con los militares que teníamos a mando.
No había mañana que no dijera, a ver, el judío de mierda.
Porque la viví mal, la guerra la viví mal, tenía 18 años.
Testimonies from veterans traumatized by what happened abound. Some were psychologically abused as early as basic training, mostly those with Jewish roots or men suspected of being homosexual. After the conflict began, the mildest thing the offenders could receive was a beating, although this reached an inhuman level of cruelty. It was very common for the victims to be kicked in the testicles repeatedly, causing them unimaginable pain. On other occasions, the weather was used against them. The young men were forced to kneel in front of puddles of ice water. Then, an officer would grab them by the head and submerge them, keeping them there for stretches that seemed endless. They would also do the same with their hands and feet, forcing them to remain with their limbs under the ice for minutes. This cut off blood circulation, causing some soldiers to end up with ulcers on the affected limbs.
Se formaban lagos durante la noche de agua helada, nos hacían romper con los borceguíes o los brazos o con el arma misma el hielo, la escarcha que se formaba, y nos hacían poner las manos, los pies. A mí, por ser judío, me hacían poner también la cabeza dentro del lago.
Illnesses caused by this type of torture, from severe flu to hypothermia and gangrene, were also common, and mutilations were not uncommon. One soldier was forced to sleep outside his tent in only a poncho. The next morning, he was found frozen and convulsing. Doctors treated him, but the young man did not survive. The punishments of the Argentine military, rather than improving military performance, only made it worse. Nevertheless, these punitive actions continued and took increasingly cruel forms. Another very common practice was what was called staking. Despite the winter temperatures, soldiers were forced to remove their clothes until they were down to their underwear. Then, 4 stakes were driven around them and each of their limbs was tied to one of them. Thus, the men were left stretched out by their feet and hands, suspended in the air, often just centimeters from the frozen water. They could be like this for hours, even if it rained or snowed. But this was not enough. Sometimes other soldiers were forced to urinate on the victims, adding a terrible humiliation to their agonizing pain. There are testimonies that tell of some of these men dying under enemy fire while tied up, without any ability to defend themselves. Another torture used was burial. Soldiers were buried in a pit up to their necks, without coats or helmets, for 10 hours. During this ordeal, with their bodies frozen, they could barely stand. But even so, they were forced to return to their posts or participate in the fighting. The young men could not refuse, as they ran the risk of being punished again. This type of punishment was a common sanction for having stolen a simple packet of biscuits.
La guerra era con los ingleses, pero cuando tuvimos que combatir con los ingleses no teníamos fuerza para combatir. Realmente la comida era escasa y se la escondían en el puerto argentino y no podíamos combatir en Malvinas.
This led many of the desperate young Argentines to temporarily leave their trenches to go in search of food. Some even hunted the local cattle, which was strictly forbidden. But this only brought them problems rather than solutions. Committing this type of infraction, the punishments they were subjected to could be more brutal than the shots fired by their English enemies. In a cruel mockery of the hunger experienced by the soldiers, the officers had devised another frightful torture. The offender was taken to the area where the troops relieved themselves. Once there, the officer would throw food among the excrement of the contingent and force the starving young men to eat it. This was done at gunpoint with the weapon just centimeters from their heads. Thus, in this cruel and humiliating way, complaints of hunger were punished.
Tiró comida de esa que había traído yo, entre donde íbamos todos a hacer nuestras deposiciones, y me apuntó con un arma en la cabeza y me hizo comer comida de entre nuestras propias excrementos.
For the Argentine soldiers, it seemed that the greatest enemy was not the English. The state terrorism that was implemented in the national territory had been transferred to the small islands. They even took the same instruments used in Argentina. The electric prod, a torture device invented during a previous dictatorship that subjected the victim to a strong electric shock, was also used against the young soldiers in the Malvinas.
Hay que entender que la Guerra de Malvinas fue un capítulo más de la dictadura cívico-militar y que a partir de allí esas fuerzas armadas desplegaron la tortura en perjuicio de los soldados.
The barbarities seemed to have no end. One soldier was tied up with a grenade in his mouth and forced to remain in that position or risk exploding. Mock executions were also frequent, where young men, after a minor infraction, were taken to the back of the barracks. There they were forced to stand against a wall while some of their comrades pointed their rifles at them, and the superior officer informed them that they would be executed. The shots never came, but the psychological distress left indelible marks on these combatants. Many could not bear the torture and deserted the army before the conflict came to an end. They preferred to risk being captured and subjected to a court-martial than to continue enduring the constant abuse. These tortures continued during the 2 months that the Falklands War lasted, but they never had the effect that the Argentine officers supposedly hoped to achieve. The conflict ended on June 14, 1982, with the defeat of the South American country. The military dictatorship lost all its remaining political capital, and a year later handed power back to the democratic government. The torture to which the young soldiers were subjected did not serve to toughen them, but only traumatized them for life. 649 Argentines died in the fighting in the Falklands War. Almost the same number of veterans took their own lives in the years following the end of hostilities. For many years, these cruel practices were hidden even after the return of democracy. As soon as they returned from the islands, the soldiers were received by military intelligence, where they received instructions on how they should talk about the conflict and that it should not be mentioned under any circumstances. In turn, members of the Army spied on veterans' meetings to make sure that what happened on the islands was forgotten there.
Para mí estaba prohibido hablar. Y en el regimiento le dijeron que nosotros no teníamos que decir nada que iba a pasar en Malvinas. No tenemos derecho a hablar. ¿Ves? Por eso digo que la democracia es para algunos.
But they still failed to silence their victims. In 2006, more than 20 years after the end of the war, numerous testimonies from former soldiers were brought to the Argentine Supreme Court. 100 military officers were accused of the torture they had carried out, classifying it as crimes against humanity. However, they encountered many obstacles in their quest to punish the guilty. Despite the abundance of evidence and witnesses, 15 years after the case began, only 4 of the accused had been prosecuted. Although in 2015 it was ordered that official Army documents be declassified, this did not speed up the process.
Estamos pidiendo que se investiguen asesinatos de soldados. La Corte se tomó 3 años para escribir en 3 renglones un fallo que ni siquiera analiza la cuestión de fondo. ¿Se animarían estos jueces a mirar a los ojos a estos soldados?
According to veteran soldiers, the delay in the judicial system is due to complicity with those responsible for the military dictatorship. In Argentina, it is not unusual for cases against repressive and torturing officers to be stalled indefinitely. Victims of torture in the Malvinas Islands declared that this is because judges are seeking biological impunity. That is, that the perpetrators, due to their advanced age, receive lesser sentences or even die in total freedom before they can be convicted. Many military officers, including Army chiefs, denied and continue to deny that torture took place in the Malvinas Islands. For them, the accusations of the veterans are an attempt at de-Malvinization. This is what they call the attempt by certain sectors opposed to the armed forces to want to take away prestige from the conflict, to want to reduce the heroes to simple victims. But for the veterans who began the judicial process, de-Malvinization is precisely to hide what really happened.
Es lamentable porque es imponer silencio sobre la historia del país, ¿sí?
To this day, the case remains open. More officers were prosecuted and called for questioning, although there have been no convictions yet. One thing is certain: there is plenty of evidence and witnesses. Only time will tell if justice will be done. We have reached the end of the video and we want to ask you, do you believe in the testimonies of the veteran soldiers of Malvinas? Leave us your answer in the comments box below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to learn about many more military events that left their mark on history.